read the book, now see the movie. Freakonomics, the movie, opening this week. Take a look.
A 3-year-old had basically come up with a way to beat the incentive scheme I had developed within 3 days that I never in a million years could have imagined. Okay, and if you can't, if an economist can't trick a 3-year-old for more than 3 days, what hope does economists have of tricking the whole country of people for even 3 hours?
Fascinating stuff. And we're joined now by Chad Troutwine, who's the filmmaker and the producer behind Freakonomics, the movie. And I gotta say, having read the book, I didn't think movie right off the bat. What made you think cinema?
I thought first that I wanted more people to learn about what Steve Levitt was doing at the University of Chicago. I just loved reading the book, and I thought that film was a way to reach a larger audience. So it wasn't obviously cinematic to me in the beginning either, but after having made 8 films, I thought, why not take a best-selling book, maybe test the limits of what people enjoy cinematically, and see how it plays out.
Okay, so tell us how you did it.
Well, first I got this idea that the material would work best across multiple segments. So the idea was, following the style of the book, we would look at vignettes rather than taking one director and creating a long story arc. So I thought, if we're going to use vignettes, why not take advantage of multiple directors? I was able to go out and attract Academy Award winners, Sundance Film Festival Award winners, and put together what has been hailed as the dream team of documentary filmmakers.
Yeah, Alex Gibney, Morgan Spurlock among them, some really big names there in the documentary world. What was fascinating about the book was the way that it said, look, you can really understand everything differently by understanding economic incentives. I'm wondering now, we do a political show here. You've got some background as well in the political world. What do you make of that? I mean, is there something that candidates can learn from that to understand how incentives work for voters?
Absolutely. When I read Freakonomics, I thought, at its heart, it allows us to make better decisions because we're better informed. So that can help parents when they decide how to raise their children. It can help business people when they make decisions on how to run their business. But it can also help policymakers. So if the idea is we want to improve child literacy, instead of making guesses, like the failed program in Illinois of let's just send a book to every home, to every child in Illinois, let's look at what really matters. Turns out that didn't move the needle. What helps are programs that inspire children to read. So reading to your kid doesn't necessarily help. We don't have to guess. By looking at the data through that particular lens of a brilliant economist like Steve Levitt and someone like Stephen Dubner, we were able to learn.
Okay, so let me put you on the spot, since, as Rick said, this is a political show. So looking at the lessons of Freakonomics, what could apply to Democrats as they are trying to find a way to stave off what looks like big Republican victories in the fall?
Well, I think one of the things we can do is we can make some very accurate prognostications. Nate Silver, who has 538.com, utilizes some of the same regression analysis that Steve Levitt has popularized with Freakonomics. So if you look to Nate Silver, you can get a very clear idea of the trending and the polls and maybe where we're going to land in November. Now, in terms of policy making, it's really going to be up to the individual politicians, the policymakers themselves, to focus on an issue, have it resonate by applying real statistics rather than mere opinion. It may not be enough to motivate voters as we come down the final stretch, but I certainly think it can apply to the long-term health of the decision-making process. And
yet, we're just in our last 20 seconds here, you've seen for a long time Democrats in particular frustrated by the fact they feel like voters don't vote in their economic self-interest.
Yeah, exactly right. I think the messaging has been blurred. I think it needs to be simple, sound bites with honest, real data, and I think that message can come through. I think people are incentivized different ways. I think the mistake is you create purely financial incentive schemes that don't work. So it's true that people are acting in their interests and through their incentives, but can we come up with programs that work? That's a totally different story.
It could work. All right, Chad Troutwine is the filmmaker behind the new movie Freakonomics. It is now available on iTunes and VOD, and it'll be in theaters just this
October
weekend.
1st.
All right,
great.
Sounds great. Thanks for being
Thanks,
here.
Rick. Thanks,
And
John.
Nate Silver's on the show tomorrow. What a great, he didn't even know that, I don't think. Well done.
That's amazing. Friend of the show.
All right, twitter.com/Rick Klein, twitter.com/John Kroll.
Good to see you, Rick.